Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Friday, May 24th, 2024. Good morning to you and happy Venus's Day. We have a waning gibbous moon now. We are in Gemini season, the Celtic tree month of Hawthorne. A slide that went too fast. Deer season and Pluto retrograde. And now we're ready for the day's astrology. The sun is in Gemini, mutable air, representing communication. The moon is in third quarter Sagittarius, mutable fire, representing optimism. Mercury is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. Venus is in Gemini, mutable air, representing the spendthrift. Mars is in Aries, cardinal fire, representing initiative. Jupiter is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, representing nostalgia. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, representing imagination. And Pluto is retrograde Aquarius, fixed air, representing examining intentions. And remember the Pluto retrograde mantra: reflect, heal, and evolve. So for the waning gibbous, release, banish, and journal. This is about moving energy that is not wanted or unneeded in your life and getting it out, giving it good old boot. Now, for the Sagittarius moon, the do's are teach, debate, and explore, and the don'ts are confined spaces, unsolicited advice, and argumentation. So for this day of Venus, use the waning moon to banish any unwanted energies that are attached specifically to your marriage or relationship. Resentment, old issues that have been hashed over again, anything you need to let go of in order to move forward. Now is the time to do that. I'll leave that old chapter behind. Our tarot card for today is the Six of Pentacles. It represents finding help, grateful acceptance, and offering assistance. None of us are going to get entirely through life without needing a helping hand or having opportunities to be that helping hand, particularly for people who are deserving of it. People who are doing the work, they just need a little extra help or a little extra guidance, and we can provide that when and if the occasion calls for it. So looking for how this applies in our own lives today, if we are being assisted in some fashion, being gracious about it, not giving anyone the attitude of, I can do it myself, blah, blah, blah. Because a lot of times when people are helping us, it's coming out of a good place. If it's our family, they're doing it out of love, or, they're doing it of, they've been kind of stressed out, so I did this little chore. They usually do it, but I took care of it for them today just because they've just been a little bit overwhelmed. So if that happens to come up, just be gracious, be thankful, express appreciation for them doing that. Don't send yourself into this tailspin of, I'm falling behind, I'm not doing my stuff. Well, someone saw that you were struggling and they helped. So just thank you. Thank you is the word you're looking for there. And then when it comes to offering assistance, if there is someone who we work with or someone in our household, maybe our spouse, or, just even the next door neighbor, if someone is struggling and, we have a good relationship with them and we feel inclined to do something to alleviate that struggle. You can't fight everyone's battles for them. You can't fix everything for them, but you can help them along as they are in the process of fixing things themselves. Look for that opportunity and make sure you take advantage of it, because it's about those give and take of energies. This is how you build up good relationships with people, about, allowing them to be of use to you and being of use to them, and doing so in a spirit of affection and mutual esteem. Next up, we have today's Celtic triad. It reads the 3 degrees of royalty: Rai, Riuri, and Riurik. The Rai essentially represents the king, and then the Riuri would be the overking, and then the Riurik would be the king of overkings. So essentially, if you want to put it in slightly more familiar feudalistic terms, you would have the overlord, then you would have the local lord who's in charge, the castle and the surrounding lands. Then you have the liege lord, who's a step above him, who's controlling, who he's essentially in service to. And then you have the person above that, who would be the overking or the high king, who's actually that third level of, I'm over the entire country, not just a particular region of it and not just a particular part of that region. And that's essentially how it works in that particular context. And, as a most people, well, not all, because I do have several of my English cousins watching from across the seas. But for those of us who are American, this is a little bit harder for us to relate to because we live in a democratic republic. And the entire our entire political system and manner of governance, it is just so different than anything that our pagan ancestors would have recognized during the time period where they had a lot of kings and a lot of nobility. So, how we might make use of this, a little bit of a stretch, but I suppose it's about recognizing the function within any hierarchies that exist. I mean, just the fact that a hierarchy exists, that's not necessarily an evil thing. There's plenty of examples of how hierarchies have been abused, but there are times when it does serve a purpose of getting things organized so people know what their job is, and so they can operate with and function within that particular role. So, examining what our roles in life are and whether or not we are living up to those obligations, that could be a way that we could kind of think about that. What is my function in this particular context? Am I doing it? Today's magical intention is goodness. The color is coral, the plant is the lily, the animal is the boar, and the crystal is citrine. That is actually a Madeira citrine, by the way. So practicing goodness is a pretty radical act in a degenerate society. And I think there are very few people who would argue and say that our society is not, on a downward slope. We're not in a good place. A lot of bad behaviors are, out in front and open in front of everybody. And it has had a pretty detrimental effect. So choosing not just not go along with that, but choosing not to participate in that, choosing to participate in something that is upbuilding, that uplifts people, that is actually productive, that is a daily act of rebellion that sends a message to people who are practicing degeneracy and sends a message to all the people who derive power from encouraging people to be degenerate or to fall short of their obligations as a human. It sends them a pretty clear message of, I know what you're up to, and I know that your road doesn't lead to any place good, and I'm rejecting you. I'm rejecting your whole philosophy because of that. So if you want to rebel in some small way, that's a way that I think is available to everyone. Practice the goodness you want to exist in the world. Speaking of practices, today we can begin the process of getting out the rubbish energy from your person and your environment. Take some time today to relax with your loved ones. These moments of just being quiet and contented and enjoying each other's company, they count for a lot more than you might think. If you're feeling in a baking mood, make a strawberry dessert to attract a bit of romance. And this holds true whether you are in a relationship or whether you are, hoping to find a relationship. It doesn't hurt to put that energy and intention out into the air. Also, in that same vein, put some rose quartz in the bedroom. Maybe enjoy a romantic story. So, for journaling today, what pagan song or instrumental music would you consider suitable for a first dance at a pagan wedding? You get to explore some pagan artists today. Again, this is always, thinking more so in the context of how do we want to do things amongst our own and not worrying about what other people might allow us to do, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not for them to allow or disallow us to do anything. The real question is, how do we want to conduct ourselves? What do we want to establish, and what is fun for us? That's what I think is really more so at stake when it comes to our own celebrations, and making sure that they are properly pagan occasions, and not having to, shield or disguise or any of that other stuff. So have fun, and if you do have any kind of particular song or music that you think would be really awesome for that, let me know about it in the comments below, because you don't know who might read that down the line. And this is part of us networking together and saying, hey, I discovered this. You might like it too. And if you do like it, like, hey, this person introduced me to that and it's so perfect. And it starts getting around. And not only do artists get a lot more exposure for their work through this word of mouth, but also it helps encourages our brothers and sisters within paganism to start also thinking in terms of how are we creating our pagan world and our pagan occasions. So that'll do it for today. Come back tomorrow for the next edition, and let me know what you thought of this one in the comments below, and I will definitely see you guys later. Bye.